Hello, it's me, Crazy D. Today, it's story time. I'm going to tell you about the best gig that I ever played. If you're a music fan or a rock music fan or a musician or something, maybe you'll get a kick out of this silly story. Now, I consider myself a drummer that plays some guitar. But this gig had nothing to do with those instruments directly. That's right, this was a 2-hour gig that involved me and an inflatable guitar. I've got a couple of bits of footage to show you as well, so that's a coming. It was July 2015 and AC/DC were in London. By the way, if any of you were at this gig, I have an appeal for you later on in the video. I've got some questions for you, to be honest. And you'll understand why in a minute. I stayed with my awesome London-dwelling aunt and uncle and cousins for the duration of this time. I was in close proximity to the gig at Wembley Arena. On the day, I put on my favourite Angus Young costume and headed out the door. I was on the tube to Wembley, and as I was on the tube, there was nobody dressed with AC/DC t-shirts and anything like that for quite some time, so I looked like a bit of a tube on the tube. I didn't care. I was going to see AC/DC. This was a great day. I was just getting majorly excited as I inflated my inflatable guitar on the train just before arriving at Wembley Stadium. I got off the tube, and if you've ever been to Wembley Stadium, you will know that there's a load of steps leading down, and as you're going down the steps, you can see the stadium like massive in the distance, and the excitement just rose. Absolutely mind-blowing excitement that was happening. I like to get to these kinds of things very early, so I think I was about 3 hours early before even being allowed to get into the place. As soon as I got off the tube and down the steps to the right, I could hear some music. It was AC/DC. There was a DJ playing really loud AC/DC tracks. So I scooted down there. There was a good crowd that was gathered there alongside one of the pop-up bars that I think pop up around the stadium whenever there's a big event on, so that people can have a drink and relax before they go into the stadium. So as I arrived, I was hearing tracks, like awesome AC/DC tracks that, from Power Age and old albums. And, I was dressed as Angus, so what was I gonna do with an inflatable guitar? And this was just outside the Holiday Inn, so bear that in mind. The Holiday Inn right beside Wembley Arena. I was, super excited, so what did I do? I started rocking out. I was doing a few duck walks and my dodgy impression of Angus and playing my inflatable guitar where I'd custom made a string to go around my neck. And that was it. I was just having some fun. By the end of the track, I got a little round of applause, a little golf clap. And I went, thank you everyone. Okay, cool. And another tune came on and I was like, I love this tune as well. Just to be expected. And rocked out a bit more. My second round of applause was a little bit more, and people were cheering. Some phones came out. People were filming, taking photos. 5, 6, 7 songs later, I was still there. Okay? It's weird explaining this story. But I should say that even though this is a silly situation, I'm going to show you some footage now. I was really happy that I was entertaining people enough that they were appreciating me a little bit and having a drink, and I was listening to music. And anyway, here's some footage from that. This is me rocking out to Who Made Who by AC/DC in my Angus gear. I'll explain how I got the footage as well later on. Yeah, so that was the vibe. So like I said, even though this is silly, I was getting these like bursts of adrenaline like I would get for a real gig on drums. With all the time that I spent at this gig, mingling in crowds, I didn't see any other Angus Youngs, not many. I saw a couple, and one of those Angus Youngs was here, and I've got more footage coming up. And this guy really didn't like me, which was weird because, you know, I think I approached him and said, "Oh, hey Angus, hey, how you doing? I'm Angus, you're Angus, we're both Angus." It's funny. And he was with his couple of mates and he didn't really like me. He was kind of off with me. I was like, okay, well, okay, whatever. So then anyway, I was rocking out. And then he would occasionally join me and rock out with me. And I was like, this is really cool. 2 Anguses, you know, expressing our feelings. And I kind of got the impression, you're going to see it now, that he wanted to upstage me, which is weird, you know. Again, it's just a bit weird. Like, that wasn't my intention to, like, I don't know, be better than everyone or something like that. But this guy was like trying to, I don't know, I got like a weird vibe from him. And in this video, you're going to see, I actually go for a high five at the end. So he does the Angus death of a fly spinning thing, and then I go in there to high five him, and he just like leaves me hanging. Basically, it's weird. Massive cringe moment, but here it is anyway. Have a look. So that's that guy, and I didn't really communicate with him much. He jumped in probably 3 times in total, I think, and did some fun Angus things with me, and it was kind of cool. But it turns out that too many Anguses just can't be friends, I guess. So like I said, this went on for almost 2 whole hours, non-stop. The DJs kept hitting me with such great tracks, and there were so many phones. And this is going to bring me to kind of the later part of this video, where I'm going to talk about how I think there's quite a sad aftermath to this for me. Towards the very end of this gig that I was playing, the DJs played For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, which, if you don't know, AC/DC used to close out their gigs. They always finish like last song, last encore is For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, where there's cannons going off and it's a big climax at the end of the song. It's really cool. And this was playing, and I thought, you know what, it's nearly time to go and actually watch the real band. So this is a good place for me to exit and, you know, end the gig. And it was the most bizarre thing. You know, I haven't told this to many people, this story, but the few people that I have don't believe this part, okay? There was a big semicircle of people around me. It was coming towards the end of the climax of the song, the last song, and people were putting their hands out to high-five me, and I was high-fiving everyone round in a circle, including, like, there was a disabled kid there, just, you know, high-fiving him, high-fiving everyone else and saying, "All right, everyone, it's nearly time to go and watch the show. Let's go." Right? And I ran off and nobody followed me. But, you know, I thought it was just kind of, it just got so intense, this gig, this thing that was happening. It was such a magical feeling for, you know, I feel like everyone was engaged. Everyone was really excited and smiling and laughing and taking videos. Everyone had their phones out, and this is where I dropped the ball, because at a gig I'm not even normally this excited, and at the end of a gig or at the beginning of a gig, you know, somewhere I will be making a point to go and talk to the people who are organizing the event, go and meet the managers, go and speak to the sound guy, go and speak to the DJ, you know, network, chat to people. That's just kind of what I like to do. I think it's important to do as a working musician. In this case, however, I was so amped, and people were taking so many videos and so much footage of this event that I figured, incorrectly, oh, you know, I'm gonna find this, I'm gonna see this this is going to be all over the AC/DC Facebook, and people are going to be talking about it for a while, and you know, I'll link up with everyone there. The reason I really wanted to do that was because the DJs were so good that I really wanted to hook up with the DJs and maybe do something like this again, put on an event, or see where they're playing next, and go and see if they would be interested in having a silly idiot come along and do something with them, you know? But that wasn't the case. And this is the sadness, because I met one couple who approached me afterwards on the way into Wembley and said, "Oh yeah, hey, you're the Angus guy. I really like what you were doing. Like, are you in a tribute band or something?" And I was like, "No, I wish I was. I'm not." "Oh, okay, cool. We got loads of photos and videos." And I said, "Cool, do you want to send that to me? Because I'd be interested, you know, just to have it and spread it around, whatever." And they were really lovely people. We exchanged numbers, and they sent me those 2 videos about a week later. And I said, "That's really cool. You said you had loads. Do you mind sending more? Thanks for that." I didn't hear anything. So I left it a couple of days, and I sent them another message. "Hey, by the way, you know, if you get a second, you get a chance, I'd appreciate it." I heard nothing back. And then I think 2 or 3 weeks later, I might have sent one more message. "Hey," but I didn't hear anything back from these 2 people. So that was a little bit disappointing, and that's all that I found. Nonetheless, I thought, hey, I'm going to be able to link up with people somehow. I'm going to see it somewhere. I'm going to see someone post it somewhere, or whatever. But weeks went by, months. I was checking in on YouTube, checking in on Facebook, checking in on the AC/DC fan pages, writing in forums. I called the Holiday Inn at Wembley, and I spoke to a few people there. They passed me around a few times. I think they did their best, but they genuinely did not know anything about the event. They didn't know anything about it. I tried contacting Wembley Arena, Wembley Stadium. I tried, you know, contacting the management of Wembley Stadium and saying, "Do you know anything about these pop-up bars? I'm investigating this specific gig. Can you put me in touch with anyone that can link me in some way to that event?" No, nobody knew anything. In this country, in England, where, you know, stuff gets really quite well organized. People care about organization in England, and I could not get through to anybody in the world that knew anything about. I'm not talking about like me, like, or did you see me? I'm talking about, do you know anyone who arranged a pop-up bar? Do you know anyone who arranged DJs? Because I'll tell you right now, if I went to set up a DJ booth near Wembley Stadium, I would probably be arrested, because someone has to have permission. You can't just go and set up a party. You can't just go and plant a bar somewhere in London and no problem. Yeah, cool, whatever. No. You will be arrested, because you can't just do that, and someone has to organize it. So I still am actually, just a bit like deeply saddened by it, because I thought there was an opportunity to maybe reproduce this kind of silliness and fun. But it, you know, here we are. So that's my appeal to anyone who was at that London gig in 2015 in July, seeing the legendary AC/DC. If anyone knows anything about the DJs in particular, I didn't even say hi to the DJs. I didn't even go, "Hey, thanks for being here, and you've created such a wonderful vibe here. Your set list is amazing. Is there any chance?" I didn't even do that, which I kick myself for. I really do. They didn't approach me either. Maybe they thought I was a nutcase. I don't know, but it should have, you know, it was within my grasp. I should have just taken a minute to say hi to the DJs. I really regret that. That is it, really. You know, I went to see AC/DC, love them to pieces. And when they first played the opening chords to Rock or Bust, the first track, you know, it got me pretty emotional, as I'm sure anyway, if any of you that were there will have felt that kind of power that comes over you. Or any of you that have seen your favorite bands, your favorite artists, you know, whenever they first come out and you're there and you know it's real, but that's another story, maybe for another time. Yeah, that's it. It's a bit, might be a bit weird. Maybe you think I'm completely, I don't know, egotistical and weird for like, I hope I haven't painted it that way. Like, honestly, you know, it's nothing special what I did. It's more about the community feeling that we had, the kind of tribal energy that was there towards the end, and people were getting excited and probably a little bit tipsy, and the music was loud and the music was good, and the disappointment that there were so many phones to the point where people were actually disconnecting from the event and recording it, and then it's nowhere to be seen. What a waste. Anyway, I guess to end on a positive note, it was a special event that I'll never forget. There was such a high energy and buzz about that event, and people were excited to hear their favorite band, and we were all there together. And I'm glad I could, make people laugh and be a bit silly for a couple of hours and be part of it. It's something that I would love to recreate and get back someday. But if we don't, at least it happened, I guess. Anyway, that's that. See you on the next thing.